Well, welcome everyone to another episode of What's Up Mainframe. I'm very happy today to say that I have someone from within our company who I work with at the oddest of hours. He's almost always available. I don't quite understand how, because technically there's 6 hours between us, but for once we're in the same time zone. So happy to say welcome to Sandeep. Sandeep, welcome.
Thanks, Jack.
Let's start off so that everybody gets to know a little bit about you. Tell us about your background, how you came to Broadcom.
Sure. I've done my master's in United States in computer science, and then I got opportunity with IBM. I was with IBM for close to 10 years.
Okay.
Initially, I started as a backend developer, coding in Java, but I evolved myself into cloud, and I've become a DevOps lead, DevOps architect, working in and out about all aspects on cloud.
Okay.
I joined Broadcom less than 2 years ago. It will be 2 in June.
Okay. Congratulations. Early, I guess.
Thank you. So in Broadcom, my role is mostly cloud-based. I'm a DevOps architect. I work on distributed side of things, help people with cloud concepts. I majorly work on workshops.
Okay.
And also cloud development environments, which is currently evolving.
Excellent.
So that's briefly about me.
Okay. And so actually, some of the things you addressed are exactly what we want to focus in on for this episode. Because while previous episodes, we've talked a lot about kind of specific solutions where we have extensions that meet a particular part of the software development lifecycle and help developers in some way. Something that is becoming more and more common, especially on the distributed side, but it's being looked at as well for mainframe developers, is the whole idea of kind of developing in the cloud. We always hear sending your workloads and processes to the clouds, but there's this whole concept of actually developing. So can you talk about that kind of generally, and then we'll dig into what the workshop environment is, for example?
Sure, Jack. So cloud development environment is a new thing that most of the companies are adopting, because there are a lot of pros to it. I'll give a very high level picture of it. Let's say a new developer comes into a company, or a team starts with a new set of tools and products. Every individual developer has to set up things on their laptop today.
Yes, one of the most painful things about joining a company.
And you can run into all sorts of issues. It doesn't work on my computer, it works on my colleagues and all. With cloud development environment, you can do a pre-setup and config and templatize things one time. One person, let's say like a lead or a focal, who has done this before or who's good at it, can get it done. Mm-hmm. And all the rest of the developers, all they need is just opening things in the browser. If you have a browser, you don't even need a laptop. I know all of us have laptops, but you can just open things in the iPad too. You log in with the credentials that are given to you, and you have access to the environment.
So you're saying, so just to clarify here, rather than I get my laptop, then I have to go find the address for some central repository where I can download product after product, and I actually have to configure them step by step. Yeah. You're saying I essentially will be able to go to a URL and have everything there.
Yeah, it's like a ready-made. Like you go to shop, buy a dress. Like you don't buy a cloth, stitch it, I've stitched it the wrong way, let me do it the right way. You don't need to do all that parts. You just come, log in, you have a ready-made environment. This actually is much efficient for companies and teams because they spend time on actually what their task is. Like a developer is to develop a new feature or fix a bug. So they can utilize majority of time doing it rather than worrying about product configuration or installation, which isn't part of their job role. So this is how it's efficient. Mm-hmm. And if I may give a couple more pros to it, is
of course.
So there is one template, and user, let's say I'm a developer and I messed up my environment. If it's a laptop, then the reset and getting into the same state would take few days. I messed up my laptop, I did something with my plugins and all. But with this environment, all you do is just 2 button clicks. You go like there is a reset option which takes you back to where you are originally. So that's a one big pro. And let's say like you have updates, like as the products grow, like you get new updates and all.
Yeah.
And the updates can be done on a template level, and the users have the option to just select button like update. So it will recycle their environment, and you get updated versions of things. So you don't have to worry about making sure you have the prerequisites on the environment, like make sure you take the right version of update and follow the instructions of upgrade, like no hassle. Just like this is all just single button clicks.
Click and go.
Click and go. Yeah,
that's amazing. And wow, to be able to join a company, go into a portal, click something, and just start working. I mean, that's amazing. But let's go into the setup of that. So, okay, that all sounds great.
The magic sauce behind it.
There's the magic sauce behind it, because obviously going to a browser, I mean, how is this secure, for example? So tell us a little bit about, and this is where we get into the workshop environment. So what did you do to enable this for some of the use cases we have in Broadcom?
Sure, Jack. So it's secure. That's a very good aspect that you brought up, because security is key. Yeah. And the secure IDE plus secure browser makes it a secure cloud development environment.
Okay.
So basically under the covers, what happens is, I'll give a very high level hierarchy of how things are set up. You can be on any cloud, Google, AWS, Azure, on-premise cloud. So that's the foundation. And on cloud, Kubernetes is a common container orchestration tool. That's like anyone familiar with the cloud would know that.
Yep.
And it just takes, again, few button clicks on the cloud to deploy a Kubernetes cluster.
Okay.
Because it's right there, like you choose like how many worker nodes, which means the VMs that you want as part of the cluster, how many CPUs, memory. You finish up the wizard and you have a cluster ready for you.
Okay.
So it's like pretty straightforward process. And so you have a cloud as a base layer, and then you install Kubernetes cluster on top of it. And then you can install any IDE. In our case, we use Strong Network. So they give their own binaries in terms of Docker images and other artifacts.
Okay.
So you install them on the cluster, and Helm package is one popular tool in the industry. We leverage that. And Helm, what it does is, like, again, like it puts everything under one umbrella, that like you run one or two commands and you have everything installed. So Strong, for instance, like has everything configured in charts and templates. So they have bundled everything together. And when they give it to me, all I do is run a couple of commands and like I get it installed. So now you have Strong installed. And Strong, or any cloud IDE, it comes with, in our case, it comes with VS Code.
Okay.
So with VS Code, you can have extensions installed. You have command line terminal. You can interact with outside entities like GitHub, like source code. You can push and pull code, and you can talk to Jenkins from workshop environment.
In this case, with your kind of infrastructure architect, right? Teams could coordinate and say, these are the kind of things that we want within an image.
Right.
And then it gets defined, and then it's just there.
That's exactly.
Okay.
So like, and then on there is customization on many levels. So as you rightly said, like you have an image where you can put the things that you need. Then there are more things like to it, like you can define in a template how many resources you want per workspace. Like let's say like you allow the users to have only 3 CPUs and like 40 GB of memory, and then on top of it again you have a startup script. What it defines is like, apart from what you get in the image, you can say like I want to install, for example, Broadcom specific products like Zoe, Endeavor.
Yep.
The user needs to have his profile, and you can build the profile in the startup script. So you even like avoid those steps for the user. He doesn't even need to set up the profile for Zoe or Endeavor.
So it's actually 2 levels in then. So it's not just giving the tools and kind of the resources in one place, but it's even giving some of the user config.
Perfect,
so they really don't even have to do much at all.
Much at all. And one other nice feature that I like is, as part of the template, you can put extensions all in a folder, which basically we mount to a bucket on the cloud.
Okay.
So let's say like if you have code for Z, we have 8 extensions. All we do is like we put those extensions in a folder, and we tell here's the directory. The IDE picks up when a workspace comes up, it auto installs those extensions for you.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so it's pretty much like does everything once you set up that customization part. Here, when the workshop, if we slowly step into how it looks for the workshop user, when the conference or workshop event happens, when the workshop user comes in and enters his credentials, he has everything there. Like he has extensions, he has Zoe profile configured, Endeavor profile configured, or any product that we do, like it's already configured. All he does is like directly gets into the workshop exercise. Prior to this, like when we didn't have this, like 2 years ago or like a few years ago when we didn't have Cloud IDE, users come and spend like almost like the first 30 minutes of the workshop, and we don't know. It also depends on the luck if they get to that point after that. So this has been super useful in workshops, and as you know, Jack, like we conducted like almost like around 30 workshops so far.
Yes.
With numerous participants, and we never found glitches in terms of getting them started.
Yep.
Get to the point.
No, that's perfect. And so, yeah, just to step back to contextualize these workshops then. So we've kind of covered, right, the high level infrastructure where you get towards using browser-based IDEs and what it goes into that setup, right? You have your cloud provider, you have Kubernetes, then you have something like Strong Network, and then you have the IDE inside of that. Then within the configuration abilities, you can specify exactly what those workspaces, let's call them, look like.
Yep.
And so the workshop, what Broadcom provides and what Broadcom has done more than 30 times, is that it can go to a site and actually tell people to bring their own devices,
Right.
send a URL, and they click these couple of buttons, and all of a sudden they are inside VS Code in the cloud with the extensions and the configuration for a generic user. It's not personally connected to them, but generic user, and they can just start trying stuff out.
Exactly. So it takes like, if someone does it right, it should take less than a minute, I would say.
To get in, yeah.
Get in and like, they're ready.
And they're
like
ready
with
to
everything configured, so they can do a team build exercise, Endeavor exercise, or anything that we offer, they can do it.
That's fantastic. And so when we bring that back to our previous episodes, we've gone through a number of the Code for Z extensions. So if anybody's interested in doing and playing with those, yes, they can download them on their own now, or they could take advantage of a workshop organized by Broadcom and go through it, and it's already set up.
Yep, that's true.
Now I really understand why you're kind of awake all the time. You got a lot of stuff to keep track of and organize, but it's absolutely amazing what you, along with a lot of other people, right? It's been kind of a group effort, have put together.
I mean, like, once the setup is done, it's there, and we don't have to do much work. The reason that keeps me awake is like, we get more and more scenarios because the workshops have become popular because of the ease of use and the ease the participants can get in. So more and more products want to be on the environment so they could do.
Makes perfect sense. Everybody wants to have that easy access and trial capability.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. But one other thing I want to mention is like in the workshop environments with the recent MTE in Prague, we provided the capability that a user logs in and he can see multiple projects there in a drop-down. The user can pick and choose any scenario that he wants to run. So like if he goes to Code for Z, selects the Code for Z project, he has all the things, and he can just start looking at the instructions for Code for Z and do the scenario. If he selects Test for Z, he can do it. So we are making it multi-phased, and so log in once, then try out in like the available things on the workshop environment.
That's fantastic. Sandeep, thank you so much. And now what we'll probably do is go through the architecture, maybe with some diagrams.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look.
Sounds good. We will look into the workshop environment architecture. I'll do a quick walkthrough from left-hand side to right-hand side. We give a URL for user to launch in a browser. User launches the URL, enters the credentials that are predefined and shared with the user. Then user goes through a secure access cloud. We are onboarded with security semantic. And then user sees a workspace that's predefined and pre-configured sitting in there. User launches that workspace, and then the VS Code appears in the browser with the extensions, Explorer, Terminal, and few other things. For mainframe purposes, we use ZDNT. Now let's take a quick peek at the real time. I'm gonna do a walkthrough of how it appears for a user. We have 3 different environments. For the demo purposes, I'll choose MSD Workshop. So here I see a predefined workspace that's already there I'm going to resume this workspace. So this workspace under the covers creates a container, as you see, setting up container on the Kubernetes cluster. So it's a one-on-one mapping. Each workspace is a container that runs on the Kubernetes cluster. There we go. So now we have the VS Code launched here. We have a Doggos GSE GitHub repo that's already part of the template definition for these workspaces. And then we have the extensions available here. The workspace startup script is complete. Now we are ready to go with the workshop exercise. I'll do a very quick action item. So I want to list the data sets for the user 5. I searched on the data sets for that user. You see, like everything is pre-configured. I didn't enter any profile or config information, but I got the data sets for that user. So that the magic sauce of template definition with the startup scripts made that pre-definitions and pre-configuration, everything ready to go for the user.
Thanks everyone for joining this episode and all of our episodes. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel and check out other episodes of What's Up Mainframe. Looking forward to having you watch another episode.